Okay, I'm trying a different recording app because Loom has changed, so I'm going to try and keep this quick in case it doesn't work. We are on step 4. Also, good afternoon or good morning whenever you're watching this. I hope you've had a good holiday. This will be brief. I'm feeling a wee bit under the weather, so I'm just going to try and kind of back these out quite quickly. We're going to take a very, very quick look at storyboarding today. It's something that you should be familiar with. Those of you who took media at National 5, you should be very familiar with it. If you didn't, I'm sure it's something you have encountered once or twice. And if you haven't, then hopefully today will shed some light on it. To most effectively prepare for your assignment, I'm asking you to make a storyboard for it. It will be very similar to National 5 if you took media at National 5, like I said. And at this stage, all I'm asking you to do to prepare is to draw your storyboard. I'm not asking for the annotations yet. We will start to put those in as we kind of go through our planning, right? Once I see what you're wanting to do, I can help you a wee bit more with that, all right? To do this, you will need document 6, which is storyboard and camera angle recap. It is something that, again, if you're in my Nat 5 class, you'll have actually looked over this PowerPoint before, but if you're not, it will just get you up to speed on a few different elements of storyboarding and camera angle as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk you through that PowerPoint. I will give you a quick rundown of what I expect from you after that, and then we'll have a kind of a checklist of what you should have done, and that'll be us. This presentation shouldn't take more than kind of 5-10 minutes. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you about creating a storyboard. All right, we're very much going to focus on the visuals this time around, and then later on we'll look at putting in some detail. So I'm going to take you to document number 6, which is a PowerPoint on storyboard and camera angle recap. Here. So. This is a PowerPoint. It is very self-explanatory. I'm not going to talk you through every element. I expect you to come and look through it yourself if there's anything you are uncertain about, and only once you have looked through it, if there's anything that you're struggling with, you can get in touch. You should learn exactly what a storyboard is using this and how to create one effectively yourself. That is the definition of a storyboard. A storyboard is a sequence of drawings, typically with some directions and dialogue, representing the shots planned for a film or television production. All right, that is ultimately what we're going to create. Yours will also have notes around it, which you will put in while you are drawing it. It will just be the description below that you will leave out. On your storyboard, that's not it. There we go. Sorry, this is an example of a storyboard. Sorry, I'm having a mind blank. This is a storyboard for James Bond. You have kind of 2 characters, a rope being cut to allow them to jump off of a building, which they do here, run, jump, holding on, and it tears through the poster all the way down and they fall holding on. It is quite a kind of clear depiction of what is going on. The arrows and the noises kind of give us little clues, so you have wee annotations which are quite useful. Right? This is an example. This is a very good example of what your storyboards could look like. It's also a very detailed example. Yours need not be this detailed. If you want them to be this detailed, that's fine, but you'll find that you're probably going to storyboard about 40 or 50 pages if you're doing that. Okay, so this is a very detailed example. Yours needn't be this detailed. This is also very well drawn. Yours, some of you won't be able to draw. All right, some of you will be afflicted with the same curse as I am, where your drawings are terrible. That's not a problem. Your storyboard is not assessed. It is just a planning stage. Okay, this is an example of what it could look like. So the key elements of a storyboard are that they are pictorial representations of what you will see in that scene, what's going to happen. It is a planning stage, so you can be ambitious. If your overall stage doesn't end up the same as your storyboard and you can explain why, then that's not a problem. There should be suggested visual media techniques such as camera angle, equipment necessary, lighting, mise-en-scène, and costume. Basically, what I want you to do is have a think about the 7 key aspects, how you are going to engage with those that are relevant. It will mainly be language, okay, I'm not going to lie to you, but how are you going to engage with language specifically and predominantly to create that visual effect? What are you going to need to do? You'll also think about suggested audio techniques such as dialogue, music, narration, and sound effects. and it leads to this. Okay, that is what you will create. This is an example of the kind of thing that I'm looking for you just now. Okay, we've got light swaying back and forth, suggesting movement. Low angle shot draws attention to the roof. Lighting is dark, maintaining tension, and the sinister music and raptor noises kind of creates this. Oh, it's a dinosaur movie. Just in case you weren't sure when you're 3/4 of the way through Jurassic Park. I'm not asking for too much in your annotations, okay? Just stuff so that I can see where you're going and see that you will have enough to talk about when it comes to your analysis of the piece of media that you have created. Because I'm slightly worried some of you might wind up creating something a little bit simple, and that you might not have enough to talk about in the second section. Again, as you go through this, it'll take you through different shots with different pieces of annotation. You can then put in some of your own annotation if you want. All right, but it's all fairly straightforward, and it takes you all the way through. We looked at this in class, but it takes you all the way through the scene in Jurassic Park, which you can then look at yourself if you want. And then there is this is for Get Out. It's a kind of it's not quite a storyboard because it actually takes you through the scene as it was filmed, but it then puts the techniques that are being used to that scene. It's very worth watching this. It's really cool. Obviously, you won't be able to do something like it unless you have access to some really state-of-the-art filming equipment, but still worth a look to see kind of some of the things you can talk about and some of the things you can think about. You can look at the Joker kind of advert, the really short one, and you can kind of think about how might that have been storyboarded as well. Now, this is ultimately what your storyboard will look like, okay? If you haven't got one, guys, like I think most of the people that were off took media last year, actually, so I think we're pretty safe. But your storyboard is you have a space for a picture with kind of empty space around it that you can then annotate off of. And then there's lines below it where you can describe to me in detail what is going on. We are going to ignore the lines below it. Okay, the lines below it are going to connect with the analysis that you can use that will actually contribute to your planning section, specifically mark-worthy analysis. So we're ignoring that. Just now all you're doing is you're creating your picture, okay, whatever pictorial representation you want, and you're putting the key bits of annotation coming off of it. All right. That's all I want you to do, and that's because it will help you visualize exactly what your piece of media is going to look like, because you need to be able to create it, and I'll help you see if there's anything that you're doing that might be a little bit ambitious. Above and beyond that, this has a wee recap quiz of some techniques. It goes through different filming techniques. It's all fairly straightforward. There's nothing there I think that you're going to struggle with. It kind of gives you the techniques in question, and then it gives you what they might be used for, so you can also have a look at that if you want to refresh specifically camera angle techniques. So things that I want you to put into your notes, like I said, it will be predominantly language, and I want you to put in things like colour, okay? I know some of you might be colouring it in, but I think most of you will probably do it in just pen and pencil, or kind of black and white, as it were. So I want you to tell me what dominant colours might be there. If you are colouring it in, great, you don't have to worry about that so much, because we'll just scan it in and send it off. Lighting, sound, costume, props, set design, camera angle, editing. Editing you might have a little bit of trouble with. We'll hopefully do that in the next 2 weeks. We won't look hugely in depth at editing, but we will look at the different types of editing as they might apply to a short movie, an advert, and a public service announcement, because they will all use different styles of editing. But everything else here we've talked about in the last couple of weeks. If anyone wants me to upload any of my media language PowerPoints, just email me and I will throw them on Teams as well. You are only to focus on the key elements in your storyboard. You have storyboarded the entirety of your media piece. So this is by the time you're done. Sorry, I was a bit confused there. By the time you're done, I want you to make sure that you've only focused on the key elements in your storyboard, nothing transitional, nothing that's a bit of a waste of your time. I want you to make sure that you've storyboarded the entirety of your piece of media from start to finish. I want your first scene and your last scene and everything in between. Okay. You've storyboarded something that you yourself can create. This one's crucial, okay? If you've got explosions, how are you going to do that? How are you going to pull that off in an effective way? And if you can't, you need to rethink it. And I am not in any way advocating that you find a way to explode things. I don't advocate that. What I'm saying is explosions probably don't have a role in your piece of media. You should also have some basic annotations of key details in your storyboard, your use of language, your key use of language. And that should be you. If you have any questions, email me. Above and beyond that, hopefully this has been helpful.